Hi there, my name is Gina. Welcome back. It's been a minute since I've been on here, but I teach and I get busy during the school year and I've been knitting a lot, but I have not had time to hop on and make any videos about what I've been up to. However, today and actually yesterday and probably tomorrow, we are having extremely cold temperatures where I live. 2 degrees is not a number of degrees it should be, in my opinion, but that has caused ice on lots of our roads. So my school is canceled and my children's school is canceled. Everything's canceled. So I thought I would take this opportunity to hop on and just share what I have been up to, because I have knitted quite a bit in the last 3 months. It's been a rough few months here in the United States. It feels like it has been a year already since the middle of January, but yes, here we are, and I have been knitting faster than ever, I think, to try to deal with the stress that I'm feeling. So I have completed a number of projects since the last time I recorded, but I am mostly going to be talking about the 4 or 5 sweaters that I have done in that time. And then I have a few small projects to talk about as well. I do have my iPad open so that I can take a look at my project notes on Ravelry, because I did not take time to write any of this down. So I will start with what I am wearing. This is the Iris sweater. Let me back up so you can see it. This is a pattern by Anne of Trin-Annelie, I think is how you say her name. It is a beautiful, beautiful all over color work design. It released in December, I think. I was a tester for this, and I finished mine just in time to wear it to Thanksgiving. So I must have finished it towards the end of November. It is made with Garn SuperSoft. This was my first time using that yarn. It was quite an experience. I was expecting it to be sort of comparable to like Knit Picks palette. Since the makeup is similar, it's 100% wool. And I knew ahead of time from Anne sort of having provided the information to us that we would need to be prepared that it was going to have spinning oil in it, and that it would be very ropey when we were working with it. But then once it was washed and or steamed, it would start to fluff up. So if you're using SuperSoft, you definitely need to gauge swatch and then look at how your washed swatch behaves, because yeah, the yarn looks and feels incredibly differently. So let me just get closer again. I feel like it has come together really well. Like if you saw this before it was washed, you wouldn't believe it, that it's the same the same piece. It was very holey, extremely gapey. Yeah, and then I washed in hot water, which I normally don't do. You know, don't wash my knits in super hot water, but I did with this because it just seemed necessary to get the oils out of it, and it fluffed up really nicely. I did, as I was going, when I remember working on the top section, and I did steam block it while I was still working on it, because I was just so worried about how terrible it was looking, how holey and gapey it was. And even just with steam blocking, it really fluffed up a lot and looked a lot better. So I kind of calmed down and was like, okay, you know, it's gonna be okay, and just trust the process. And I did, and it worked out. I love it. so much. This is one of my favorite things I've ever made. It was such an interesting construction. You start with this detail here. You cast on these stitches, and at this point it's been long enough ago that I don't remember like what that was called, but like it was a different cast on than I had ever done before, and it was quite fiddly. I do remember that like it took a while to figure out how to do it and to get it all cast on, and then you work short rows back and forth to sort of build up this section here of the shoulders, and then you cast on the other side as well, get those going, and then you join together in the round, because this is kind of like I mean, it wasn't Judy's Magic cast on, but it was something like that, where you're knitting, you know, you're setting up for to be in you have two sets of stitches, and so you can join them to knit in the round after they come off of there. So that was a new technique. I had steeked before, but I had never steeked a neck hole and armholes, and you do both in this. So one misconception that some people have about this pattern is that they think that it requires knitting color work in the flat, but it actually doesn't, because I never would have signed up to test. In fact, I said that on the testing sign up. I was like, if this has flat color work, I don't want to do it. But it is all knit in the round. Like, it is a very thoughtfully put together pattern to really save knitters from having to do really difficult things and tedious things like knitting color work in the flat. And this, I don't know, I just think the shoulder detail is so beautiful. Like I said, it was fiddly, but I think it was definitely worth it. Let's see what else to say about this. According to my notes, I knit a size 3, which did I write down? What my ease was. I did not seem to have written it down here. I followed the pattern's recommended ease, so I'm not sure what size how many inches the size 3 is supposed to be, but it is quite roomy. As you can see, I have plenty of room in there. I had said, I think in my last video, that, you know, I just really don't think drop shoulders are for me. I don't think they do my body shape any favors. This one bothers me less, I think, because the drop is really long. Like, it's just a couple of inches above my elbow is where the drop starts or ends. And it's also super, super, super oversized. And so I think that makes it feel less bad to me. And I think it doesn't look quite as unflattering on me as more closer fitting drop shoulders do. So really, really happy with this. Let's see if I can show my floats on there. Whew. You don't want to see my belly skin, but yeah, the inside, I love the floats on the inside of this. I didn't have to weave in that many ends. I mean, there were a lot of ends, especially up in this section where there's a lot of casting on of different parts going on. But I followed Anne's advice and spit spliced my SuperSoft throughout. So like every time there was a color change, I spit spliced my yarn together as I was changing colors, and that worked really well. I will say I found out that you can get like a yarn cut, like a paper cut. I cut my tongue as I was spit splicing the yarn, so you know, be careful and don't drag it across your tongue if you're gonna do that. But it worked really well, and that definitely saved me a ton of time at the end weaving in ends. But I love this so much. My colors are close to the ones that Anne used in her sample, but I went a little bit darker on my iris colors. My plant is a little bit, the stem and leaves are a little bit darker green, and I think some of my browns might be a little bit darker. I'm surprised at how not warm the sweater is. All of my other sweaters that are in wool are pretty warm, even the ones that are fingering weight. But this one, I don't know if it's because it's so oversized or what, but it is not particularly warm, which is actually a good thing because I went with a pretty fall palette, I think. And so I'm looking forward to wearing this in the fall because we usually tend to have really long summers and don't get a lot of cool temperatures in the fall. And so I should be able to wear this without feeling like I'm gonna die in like October, November. So excited about that. And I am going to do some wardrobe changes here so that you can actually see some of these on. All right, next up we have my low tide sweater. This is by Rachel Ilsley of Unwind Knitwear. Oh, the arm panels, so good. Yeah. So this is not necessarily the jeans that I would wear with all of these sweaters that I'm showing you, but I am not gonna take the time to change out of all of those. Yeah, so let's see. This sweater, I actually started much earlier. I started it right after I bought the pattern as soon as it came out. I had been drooling over the versions that were popping up online, just thought they were so pretty. I could envision the one that I wanted, so I started it very quickly, and it did take me a while. So it says, according to my notes, I cast it on September 21st and did not finish it until December 22nd. I knit the size 4 and again did not leave myself notes about how much ease that was. I'm sure that I went by my high bust size. I added some length, so I remember I did some extra rows on the chest section. I'm trying to remember how this is knit. I think these are called, I'm not sure if these are saddle shoulders or contiguous sleeves, but it's really interesting. Rachel's patterns are always super interesting in terms of their construction. You cast on for either the back or the front, probably the back because you have to do short rows to raise the back. Cast on for the back, and then you pick up stitches to create your little shoulder panels and connect that to your front and do more shoulder stitches over there. The construction is very interesting. It's been long enough ago that I do not remember much about that, but I added a little bit of length here. Not sure if I should have done that or not. I wanted to be sure that I gave myself enough room in the armpits, but I am getting a little bit of extra stuff there. It doesn't look terrible, depending on how I'm holding my arms, but when I sit down, it definitely creates a little bit of pooch there. But I just think this is so pretty. The yarn that she used for the sample and the recommended yarn was some kind of possum yarn from Australia or New Zealand, and I definitely did not get that. I was envisioning a pink one, and I had just gotten this Dogwood Heather Stroll through a D-stash on Ravelry and thought it would be make for a really pretty one. And yeah, so this is Knit Picks Dogwood Heather Stroll, which is their sock yarn. It's super, super soft. I have used Stroll for children's garments before, but I think this will be my first adult garment made out of Stroll. I've used it in socks, lots and lots, but haven't used it for garment knitting myself. So time will tell how this one holds up. Because of the lace and stuff, this one is not super warm, and it's actually been pretty cold here since I finished it. So I've only worn it once, I think, aside from the pictures that I took outside. So sorry, I'm looking at my cat who wanted in and now he wants out. Yeah, so I haven't gotten a lot of wear out of this, but I do anticipate that I will wear it a lot as we come into March. It is, I feel like, going to be a good transitional type piece with as light as the yarn is, and then with the ventilation that comes with the lace. So yeah, pretty happy with this one. Don't know that I have a lot else to say about it. It was a fiddly knit at the top, but once you've got all of that done, it becomes pretty simple to get done. And the only reason it took me months was just because it kept getting pushed to the back of other projects as they came along. All right. Next up, we have the My Opa Cardigan by, let's see, Lisa Chemery? I'm not sure how she pronounces her name. This is made out of Nutiden. It has pockets. That's like my favorite part. Yes, and let's see what to say about this one. So I knit this during the indie gift along. This was my only entrance or finished object that qualified this year, and I did buy the pattern during the sale. I bought this Nutiden back in May for my birthday. It was my birthday splurge for myself. I had heard about Nutiden, but had never seen any in person, and actually had never seen any unspun in person, and was interested in working with it. So I ordered this and then sat on it for 6 months. Couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with it. Looked at lots of patterns online and decided what I really wanted was a cardigan like to wear around the house, because I decided that I got 500 grams of the purple and then 300 grams of the green. And I think at the time that I bought it, I was thinking, well, that should be enough for like a pullover, a colorwork pullover or something. But then I decided that really I would get more use out of it if I did a cardigan instead. But then like when I started looking at the cardigan patterns and like making something oversized, like I became afraid that my 500 grams was not going to be enough. So anyway, I ended up holding, like just marling a strand of the purple and the green together for the collar and the cuffs. And I think, let's see if I can get it to focus there. I think it worked pretty nicely. It kind of is, I don't know, gives Maleficent vibes, I think. But this, I am super happy with this pattern. The Nutiden was very interesting to work with. It was definitely an experience. I am a fairly tight knitter and I definitely yank on my yarn a lot. And so, there was definitely a learning curve in figuring out how to maneuver the Nutiden so that I wasn't constantly breaking it. I finally figured out the easiest way for me to use it was to have it sitting on the ground in front of me. Normally my yarn sits like beside me on the couch in a project bag or something, but that definitely doesn't work with Nutiden. So it would sit on the ground in front of me and I'd spool off a bunch of it and lay it there. And I had issues with my dog Stella, who wanted to lay up against my feet, but then she would be laying against the Nutiden plate and then it wouldn't spool and my yarn would break. So that was kind of aggravating. I had to build a little fort around my feet to keep her out of my space while I was working on this. But let's see, I cast this on December 16th and finished it on December 26th. So it was a quick knit. I was also on vacation at that point, so I worked on this a lot, but it did knit up quite quickly and I really like it. It's just a simple little raglan. The pockets are really neat though. They are fully integrated, so you don't have to go back and add the pockets in the same way. Now, again, it's like been too long since I looked at the pattern, but you kind of have to follow along with what you're supposed to be doing with the pockets as you go. But I feel like it's like all knit up. Like you don't have to go back and knit the pockets down or anything. So it's a very thoughtful pattern. I highly recommend it. I like everything I've ever made from Lisa's her catalog. I've done a couple of her Hobbit inspired children's pieces. I just think they're super cute. I really like her aesthetic apparently, and yeah, so highly recommend my Opa cardigan. It is supposed to have buttons. I did put in buttonholes on one side of this, but I feel like you can't really see them in the garter stitch, and I don't know if I'll ever go back and actually sew on buttons or not. I just wear it like this, and it is pilling already, you can see there, but I have worn this a ton since I made it. Like I'll just put this on in the evenings when it's cold or like on the weekends. So it's just sort of like almost like a robe. So it's getting a lot of wear. It is super light. I wish you could feel through the screen, this fabric. It's so airy. I also, in terms of softness, I am able to wear this next to skin on my arms. It's definitely not as harsh as what I have heard people describe like placilopi as being. I don't know that non-yarny people would think that it was particularly soft, but to me, it feels really soft and it is super squishy. So squishy. And yeah, I like putting my hands in the pockets and just like squishing the yarn inside there. It's a fun sensory experience. So this is my Opa cardigan in Nutiden. All right, next up we have the Porcelain sweater by Lene Holm Samso. I'm sure it needs no introduction. It has been all over Ravelry and the internet for the last couple of years. I made mine out of Knit Picks palette and Aloft. Shoulders there. Yeah, so after I said I don't like drop sleeves, after I decided that the Iris sweater did not, I didn't hate the drop sleeves on it as much as I thought I would. I decided to make the Porcelain sweater because I have loved this pattern really since I saw it. But I just didn't think that I wanted to make it because of the drop solder situation. Yeah, so I had never done it. But after doing that one, I decided I would take the plunge and I would just not care if it didn't look as flattering on me as something could. So this was my Christmas present to myself, ordering the yarn. For me, mohair is adding mohair, carrying it along with other yarns is pretty pricey. Not something I would always do. Yeah, I decided to have this be my Christmas present to myself and go ahead and order this yarn. And I actually ordered So this is, let's see, what did I end up using? Initially, I ordered palette in white and Aloft in white and palette in Celestial and Aloft. They were out of the Aloft in the Celestial. So the Aloft that I got was a darker blue. I think it was Denim, which is a darker, more blackish gray leaning blue. Definitely not the bright blue that Celestial is. I don't mind it though. I feel it kind of tones down the Celestial a little bit. I think in a good way. I did not end up going with the white though. When I got that in person and swatched it up and looked at it, I was like, oh, now I see why people were ordering, the people who had made it in palette. I saw like using oyster in palette, and oat was a common color to use for the Aloft. And so I went back and I ordered cream. I got the cream colored palette, and then I ordered oat Aloft. So that's that's a more brownish beige mohair. And I definitely think that comes closer to the original sample piece, which I really liked, than the white would have. So I'm glad that I went ahead and bought more yarn now, and I'm sure that I will find some sweater along the way to use the white Aloft in, and then you can never go wrong with having white palette on hand to do things with, because I do like to use palette for lots of little accessory stuff. So let's see. I made the size 4, which is a 49-inch bust. So that would give me 6 inches of, no, sorry, I can't do math. Like 3 inches of positive ease in the full bust, and 9 inches of positive ease across like my upper bust. So it is quite roomy, quite soft. Sorry, it's a little wrinkled. It's been folded up, crammed in my closet. Let's see. This was fine to make. It was definitely not my favorite pattern to work ever. You have to work all of the top band of color work in the flat. So that's super annoying. This is, I was saying the Iris sweater was so thoughtful because Anne put in steeks for the neck and the sleeves so that you did not have to do the color work in the flat. And I did think about doing like just creating my own. Since I had just done that, I was like, I can figure out how to create steeks, and that's what I was going to do. And then I decided, like, this is not a fingering weight gauge that this is being knit up in. Like, it's not going to take me that long to just knit it flat. And so I did. I just went for it and knit it flat. And, it only took me a couple of days really to do the front and back panel to get the worst part over with. And then, once that was done, it was smooth sailing from there. I cast this on January 12th and finished it on January the 25th, so just a couple of weeks. I remember being really frustrated with the sleeve section because there was an instruction that said, like, use the yarn tail to pick up stitches for such and such, or to knit on stitches. I don't know, something. We were supposed to use our yarn tail for something. And it was so confusing because, like, there wasn't a yarn tail there. And this is the same, like, that was the same set of instructions that I had run into with tea number 1 that I had made by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I was really frustrated there because I'm like, what yarn tail? There's no yarn tail there. Well, I read in somebody's Ravelry notes, they had figured out what was going on, and what she meant was to slide your stitches down and then like knit using the other end of your yarn rather than like breaking your yarn, and like, because you need to get from like you cast on stitches and then you need to be at the other end of stitches or something like that. Anyway, so I put that in my notes so that hopefully I'll remember it for later. I bet you that that is what my favorite things knitwear was saying in the T #1 when she was talking about using yarn tails, because it's kind of like it's a similar type thing that's happening with the sleeve. So maybe that is something that makes sense in the original language, or is obvious to Scandinavian knitters, but that doesn't really translate to American knitters. So that was my only real gripe with this, is that there are things that I think could have been written differently in the pattern to make it more clear, but overall, like, it's a pretty simple pattern. So like especially once you get past the top part. So I think that the pattern is beautiful, and I have really enjoyed it. I love Knit Picks. Palette is great, a great workhorse yarn, and then I really like their Aloft mohair. I know some people are sensitive to mohair. I don't know. I hear people talk about like knitting for olives. Kid Silk mohair is like one that they can tolerate, and that Drops is one that's more scratchy. I don't know how other people feel about Aloft, but for me, I do not find it scratchy. I'm wearing this on my bare skin, and I actually really like it feels silky to me. Aloft does. So I don't know, I don't think I would want it across like my forehead. Tends to be pretty sensitive, but it does not bother me, at least not at this temperature, because it is quite cold. And I have been wearing it while it has been quite cold here and enjoying it. So all right, next up we have the Arctic Light sweater, which probably needs no introduction. This is by Veronica Lindberg, Kutavakika. Let's see, I made the size, I didn't write it down. Yeah, sorry about that. Not sure what size I made. I have a fair amount of ease, I would say, in this, and I think I knit maybe the extra large, I think. So let me turn around and show you. Got the arm cables. This one's all about the cables and the bobbles. Okay, so this one I have very mixed feelings about. So I have loved this one ever since I saw it. I know that some people think it is very weird looking, like they don't like the diagonal raglan cabling that happens down the sleeves, but I really like that. But what I do not like are the little armpit flaps. So this has been well noted, well documented that there are problems with this pattern. Like there was somebody on Ravelry posting about it like right as I was finishing mine up, so that I was going, oh man, I hope when I block it I don't have the same problems that she has, but I do. So this double moss stitch that the arms have, like, just does not seem to play well with the tight cables that run down there, and you end up with weird armpit flaps. And I don't know if it's because, I mean, I don't know if it's just badly drafted for the larger sizes. I assume that the sample is, you know, she's wearing probably one of the smaller sizes. And I don't know if in the picture, like possibly she's like tucking in her armpit flap, because I could do that. Or if just in the smaller sizes, like that doesn't exist. But like there's just a lot of extra extra space there, and I did not knit any like extra in the yoke section. I didn't add any extra increases. I actually like knit this to pattern. So I didn't change anything, and the overall dimensions of the sweater I think are fine. Like I just think there's something funky happening there. And then of course there's also, you know, this is one of the things that Veronica Lindberg is known for, like not including any short row shaping in her patterns, and so like there is none in this one. So like there's not really there's no difference between the front and the back. I don't have anything marked on mine. It's just like, well, whichever side I think looks better is what I will wear in the front. But like that's not how human anatomy works, and so it does want to ride up, and it is uncomfortable. It would definitely be better if there was some short row shaping included in the pattern, and I could have done that. I mean, I have done that on patterns that didn't include it before, but I just wanted to be able to knit the pattern and go. Also, like there were errors in the chart, the cable. Like this is fully charted. I don't think that there were written directions. There might have been. I don't ever pay attention since I use charts when I am knitting, so I wouldn't have noticed. But in the chart patterns, there were errors. Like I remember seeing in the moss stitch, like there were just like purl denotations missing in occasional places, and it wasn't like a ton of them, but it was, you know, like at least 2 that I saw in the chart, and I'm like, how many years has this pattern been out? And that there are still errors out there, and like I had just purchased it in the fall, so it wasn't a matter of, you know, I had downloaded it and then not ever updated my pattern with the errata. But so that was annoying. Also, the chart is like the, you know, all of the front and back is the same thing. All of the front panel is on one page, a chart on one page, and it is so small. I had to like open it on my iPad and zoom. Like I actually did have I had printed it out originally, and then I was like, well, there's no way I can use this chart in its printed form because I cannot see that small, and I don't have like I don't have bad up close vision, so I don't think it was me. I just think that is not a size that human beings are meant to be able to read at. So if you're going to use that pattern, be prepared that you're going to need to do some enlarging, or, you know, using it in a program like Knit Companion or something like that. The yarn I used in this is a new one from Knit Picks called You and Billy, which is, let's see what it says. It is a DK weight, 75% wool and 25% mohair. This pattern is supposed to be knit with a DK, and like I think it's you hold a fingering and a mohair together, and so I thought that this would be a nice compromise. It's the right weight, and it's got the mohair built in. I enjoyed working with this yarn. I think the color is absolutely gorgeous. This is Smokestack is the name of this color. I think that the cables show up really nicely, even though it's a dark color. There is some heathering to this yarn, probably because of the 2 different fibers that are being held together. Like it has a lot of dimension. Let's see. So I just said, you know, that I find Aloft to be quite soft and silky feeling on my skin. I don't find this one to be that way. I'm a lot more aware that I'm wearing it. Like right now, I don't have anything, I don't have a shirt on under this, just undergarments, and I'm definitely aware of it. It is less comfortable to me than the palette and Aloft. So I wouldn't say it's itchy necessarily, but it is not as soft to me. So I don't know if it's a different like grade of mohair, or if it's just, you know, the way that it's spun together with the wool. But in any case, I do find it soft. I am able to wear it under my skin, I mean next to my skin, but it is not as soft, and probably for somebody who is more sensitive, they probably would not want to do that. But the color is beautiful. I do get, like, it's not showing up really here, but there is a little bit of a halo to it, not nearly as much as if you are holding mohair together with a yarn. But on the whole, I really enjoyed this, and it's also definitely easier than having to fiddle with 2 strands at once and going back and catching the mohair after you have missed it and that sort of thing. So 2 thumbs up to the yarn. All of that to say, I have in my Ravelry projects marked this one as kind of an UGG though, because of the little armpit flaps that I am not very happy with. Because, you know, when you go to the trouble to make your own clothes, you want them to fit, and this doesn't really. And I don't think, based on how many other people have had the same set of problems, I don't think that that's on me. I think this is just an issue of the design. So, all right. And our last garment, we have the Petite knit zipper light, which I just finished over the weekend. Zip. Let's see. A functional zipper. Okay. So I have avoided making any of Petite knit's patterns, not because there was anything wrong with them. Just I feel like they're overdone. They're also like pretty simple, which is what some people are looking for, since it looks more ready to wear. And not this one in particular, but you know, her other patterns look more elegant. But I decided after, like, I've got this one on my little fitting dummy here. This is the Stowaway sweater by Wool and Pine that I tested this summer. And when I first made that, which it was super hot, so like this is probably playing into it. Like in July when I made that, I was thinking, am I ever actually gonna wear this? Because, you know, I do feel like this is like too casual to wear to work. It's definitely like, you know, weekend vibes. And so I, you know, was a little unsure of how much use I was going to get out of it. However, it has turned out to be like one of my favorite sweaters ever. It turns out I really like having just a nice, comfy hand knit that I can wear on the weekends. So I have sort of been going back and forth between the Stowaway and my my Opa Cardigan. You know, wear those like all weekend. So I decided, you know, I think I would like one of the half zip sweaters to just wear, you know, for casual outing. So not intending this to be like workwear or anything, but this is just for weekends and whatnot. And so I decided to go with the queen of the half zip sweater and get Petite knit's pattern. And I really like it. Let's see. I don't have it pulled up here. What size did I make? I made the XL, which I'm not sure what the dimensions are on that, but obviously I went for some ease. I wanted it to be, you know, fairly oversized, so it would be nice and comfy. I used Knit Picks Caterpillar. This is a yarn that they had during their big sale last year. So 2023, in November 2023 is when I bought this. It is like a wool cotton blend. Let's see. And it is sport weight, 57% cotton, 43% wool. I got some in this color, which is called Birdwing. It's a really, really pretty, very dimensional green. Like it's called Birdwing, and it really does look like that beautiful iridescent green that you see on birds or like butterflies. It's really pretty. Like I just kept thinking as I was knitting it, like look, when I would look down at the yarn, it's pretty. It is very, very pretty. Like to knit. So I enjoyed working with that yarn, and then I think it makes a nice fabric. I used a like gray and white marled colorway of this same yarn last December to make a drizzle cardigan, and I have really enjoyed that. It's one of my most worn cardigans. You know, I think the cotton and wool combo is really good for my climate where it's not super cold a whole lot of the year, so you can wear it during transitional months more easily. So yeah, what to say about this? Nothing much. Like, I mean, it's just a raglan. It's super simple construction. I will say I wish that I had not made the collar to pattern. I mean, I followed the pattern. I knit it exactly as long as it was supposed to be. And I think I just have a short neck. I mean, I know I have a thick neck, but I'm starting to think it's actually pretty short. Because things that have collars that don't look as high on other people like feel very high and chokery on me. So I wish I had gone a little bit shorter with it, because I can't imagine that I would ever wear it zipped up, except, you know, if I'm like walking outside when it is -15 as it is right now. But I probably wouldn't want to wear this cotton and wool outside when it's that cold. So I'm sure that I will never wear it that zipped. But I think it'll be great for like weekend wear around the house. I did become afraid that I was going to run out of this yarn. And so in the Knit Picks Lovers group on Ravelry, I asked if anybody had some extra that they would be willing to destash, and somebody very kindly sent me 3 skeins of that. And guess how many skeins that I ended up with left? 3. So yeah, I didn't actually need them at all, and so now I have a weird amount left. I guess I can just put those up for destash. But yeah, it's really nice. So word of warning, in case anybody else ever uses this yarn, I found out the hard way with my drizzle cardigan that these balls of yarn don't have dye lots on them, but so I assumed that they were all the same dye lot, but they were not. And my drizzle cardigan, like you can see a clear band where I had a ball that was a different, it was quite different from the ones before it. So I did knit this whole thing helically, except for the collar, which like took one whole ball. So I just did that all in one. But otherwise, yeah, nothing much to report there. I did not buy one of the Petite knit zippers like a lot of people have done. I was just like, that's a little bit much. I did look around though, and there were not very many cute metal zippers out there. And so I ended up buying this one from Hobie, which seems kind of dumb that I bought from overseas, mostly for the zipper. I did put some yarn in there to keep it warm on the way over. But yeah, but I like the zipper. It is very substantial feeling, and the pull is cute and feels substantial as well. So very happy with that. Let's see. So now I'll run through a couple of other finished objects. So I decided to join the hood trend, and let's see. This is like a Frankenstein mashup of a couple of different patterns. Let's see. This is the main pattern that I used was the Berlin hood, which is a paid pattern, but I had gotten it for free at some point. And yeah, by Berlin hood by Marion Bullen. And mine looks pretty different from the one that they have, that they show on there, because I added this little casing and the I-cord. Here's what it looks like with it folded down. So like the idea is this little like collar part goes inside of your coat, and then just the hood part pokes out, and I think it looks pretty cute when it's put together that way. Like I would not wear it outside the house on the outside of my clothing, but I do think it will be perfect if I have to go outside this week when it is so cold, because you can just cinch it up and cover up most of your face like a balaclava. So yeah, I made this with some other Knit Picks yarn that I had gotten several big sales ago. Let's see, what was this called? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Arcadia. It's a DK weight yarn, and I think that they just like, it was a one-off sort of thing that they had during the big sale. And I had actually already knit this up into a shawl, and I had worn it like twice, maybe in the 2 or 3 years that it had been in existence. And so I decided I wanted this color, and that was the perfect yarn and weight, I thought. And so I just went and unraveled that shawl and had plenty to make this with, and still have some left over to make something else with. The Berlin hood, thankfully offers dimensions, like, and doesn't just say, you know, knit so many rows. There is a schematic with dimensions, which was good because my row gauge was very, very off. So I had to do a lot more knitting than what the pattern called for. I'm not sure. I mean, I think that the pattern calls for a DK, because I think that's part of the reason I was using that particular pattern. But for whatever reason, my gauge was very different, and so I had to do a lot more knitting and how to figure out based on dimensions how much to do. But it's garter stitch up here in the hood portion, and then I think actually in the pattern, if you follow the pattern, like this neck portion that's knit in the round is in stockinette, and then it goes back to garter stitch for the little collar sections that are knit flat. But I just didn't like the way that looked, the transition from garter to stockinette and then back to garter. And so I just did all of mine in stockinette. And then you like finish up with an I-cord, bind off. And like I said, the original Berlin hood doesn't have this casing. So I followed another pattern, their sort of concept for how to create that casing. And then my son has a 3D printer. And so I had him print me a little, like a handle for one of those I-cord tools. And I made my like miles and miles of I-cord using that tool one Saturday morning, and it was a little fiddly to get it started, but then like way faster than doing I-cord by hand once I had it going. So that was nice. So that is my somewhat Berlin hood. And then let's see, what else do we have? I just finished these guys in this last week. These are the Mine socks. So can you see the mine up there on this seagull? I think these socks are so cute. These are by Sarah Kelly, she's the designer behind Gray Owl Knits, I think. And I've made a number of her colorwork patterns before. She just designs the cutest stuff, and she, I think, first designed a cowl with the mine birds, the seagulls on it, and I thought that was super cute. But I don't really wear cowls, so I didn't volunteer to test that one. But then when she released the socks, I was like, yes, I will wear those. So tested those, super cute. They should be out later this month. Really, really nice design. This is, as far as color work goes, I think this is a nice color work. I wouldn't do it as a first color work, just because I don't think socks are particularly great because it's hard to knit in a small circumference at a gauge that will allow you to get your foot in. So I don't recommend socks as a first color work project, but these are not a difficult color work project. There is no 3-color knitting, yay. The extra little colors up here is just duplicate stitch, and you don't have to do that. I liked that. So yeah, super cute. I used Stroll, Knit Pick Stroll on these. So there's a couple of Stroll tweed colors. Let's see, there's Cobblestone Heather, that's the dark gray, and then there's Down Heather is the like beige color, and the yellow is Dandelion, and the green is Patina. Yeah, so I am looking forward to putting those on my feet actually this weekend. They're perfect for this really cold weather that we're having. So just finished those over the weekend, and let's see, what else do we have going? Sock Madness has started, and here is my start on the first pair of socks. So Sock Madness, in case you don't know about that, is a worldwide sock knitting competition. It's held on Ravelry. You sign up to participate, and then they send you out a wild sock pattern. It's intended to get you out of your comfort zone, to show you that you can do scary things when it comes to sock knitting. And if you finish the qualifying pair, which this one will be, within 2 weeks, then you get placed on a team, and then they will drop a pattern, and everybody at the time of the pattern drop then has 2 weeks to get it finished, and they take the first so many finishers from each team, and then so like fewer and fewer people advance through the competition. And yeah, so it starts now, I guess, in February, happens throughout March, and finishes up in April. And I'm not sure how many years I have played now, at least 4 or 5. It's really fun. I usually don't make it that far because if the pattern doesn't come out on the weekend, then I usually am not going to be able to get it done, because that's when I have the most time to sit and work, and you never know when the patterns are going to drop. But this one dropped on Sunday, and I have made good progress on it. So this one is really wild because it's called a conjoined twin. So you're going to knit from a toe up sock, and then I have already started now. This is going to be joined to the other sock, and the other sock will be knit cuff down continuously. And then once you get it finished, after you have taken your pictures, of course, to show that you did do it the way that the pattern instructed you to, you will then cut it apart and bind them off separately so that you will have a pair. And I'm making these for my husband, who has like size 13 feet. He's gotten a number of pairs of socks from Sock Madness over the years. If there's like an early pattern that that seems like one that he would like, I will try to make him a pair of them later as you have less time to get them done. Like, you know, I often don't even make socks that I can wear because I have pretty big feet for a woman. Mine are like 10 to 11. So, but now, while I know I have the full 2 weeks to work on it, I will make him a giant pair of size 12, 13 socks. So sock madness sucks. Going, let's see what else. And then I have another garment going because I can never be without one of those, it seems. I have 2 sleeves done. This is going to be the Spark cardigan by Andrea Mowry. I got this, this yarn here is chroma worsted in the colorway Fathoms. This is another one of Knit Picks yarns that I bought during a big sale. This one has been several years ago, and I don't know what I was thinking. I bought like basically a sweater's quantity of a color changing yarn. So I don't know. It might have been long enough ago that like I didn't really understand that you can't use all the pretty yarns for all the things. So yeah, I have a large quantity of chroma worsted, and so Spark is a pattern that uses, I think it uses like calls for spin cycle or something, some color changing yarn, and so I am using it instead. And the natural color here is my favorite High Desert worsted. High Desert is a Shanico wool from Knit Picks. It's so nice. If I could just knit with one yarn for the rest of my life, it would be High Desert. It just feels so nice. It's super soft and also like really bouncy. It feels nice. It's not dry, super dry. Yeah, and it's next to skin soft to me. But it's not merino. So like it feels different. It's a very interesting yarn. Highly recommend it. So far, nothing to say about that pattern. I am I'll probably cast on for the body of it today, but I'm a little annoyed because it's bottom up, which as a big busted person is always a little scary to me. Yeah, so, but I did it to myself. I knew that it was a bottom up pattern when I got it. Yeah, so hopefully that one will be, it's knitting up super fast since it's a worsted weight. Let's see, what else? I've knit a lot of other things, like small things since then. One that I wanted to share about was the snow dress. So I do not have this one with me because it was knit as a gift. This was back in November, December is when I was working on this, late November, early December. A friend had asked me if I would be willing to go in with her on a gift for a very special little someone who was turning 1 year old. And so she wanted to send her the snow dress, which is by Pernille Lawson of Knitting for Olive. It's super cute. I'll put a picture of it up here. It turned, and I was like, sure, no problem. Because I'm thinking like a 1 year old's dress, like, you know, I can knock that out in just a couple of days. It will be no big deal. But it turned into this nightmare. So my friend had a indie dyer friend of hers dye yarn specially for this because she didn't have quite the colors that she was looking for in the other yarn line that she was looking at. So her friend dyes up the yarn and I get the yarn, and I realized, oh, I should probably, you know, wash this to make sure that it does not, like, I need to not just swatch, but I need to swatch these colors together because it was like very dark navy, blue, bright dark green, and then white. And I was like, I need to swatch those and make sure they don't bleed since those colors are so dark. And so I did, and it did. It bled. It bled a lot. And so I was like, well, you know, this is not good. And we talked about whether we wanted to proceed and just try to have me rinse that yarn, or if she wanted to like get new yarn in, but she was going to have to order it. And then, you know, wasn't sure how long all that was going to take. So I decided like, I'll just try to rinse the yarn and get it to stop bleeding. And so I rinsed the yarn 6 times, like 6 different baths before it stopped massively bleeding. Like there was still a little bit of tint to the water, the navy blue, because it was mostly the blue. Like the green didn't really bleed. It was the blue. But it bled and it bled and it bled and it bled. And I had 3 skeins that I had to wash. Yeah, so that was super annoying because like I'd also had a tangle because I had, you know, skeined it or balled it all up, right? Taken it out of the hank and balled it all up immediately, and then had to unball it, right? Put it back in hank form and then wash it. And it was a lot. So I was already very frustrated with the project before I even got started on it. And then I started on it. And I did realize that it was going to be 3-color knitting, but I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. So it had, like the pattern is adorable, but that adorableness is achieved at a cost, of 3-color knitting. And it would have extremely long floats. And I have not mastered, I knit color work with both hands. And when I have to do 3-stranded color work, I will knit holding 2 strands in my left hand, which is not, like, I don't normally knit continental. This is the only time when I'm doing color work. I don't know why I hold them both over there, but that's what I do. And I just can't remember and, to pick up my floats and to pick them up well, or to catch my floats and to do it well, in the, when I'm doing 3-color. So, and I kind of, I stopped trying, because at first I was trying to catch my floats at a reasonable rate. But then I decided to not to anymore, to not even try, because it was just looking so bad. So my dress, you see Caspian, this is my kitty cat. My dress looked so bad on the wrong side. It was hot garbage. It looked okay. It looked super cute from the front. I'll show you the picture, but I'll also show you the picture of how terrible the floats looked. But like the pattern, it was just miserable. I timed myself and it took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to do 4 rows. Because even though, you know, it's like for a 1-year-old, the size that I was doing, it's still like, it was very full, the dress, like, cause it's the skirt part. And it's, you know, it's an A-line. So like it's smaller. So there were over 200 stitches, at the bottom of the dress where you're having to do the 3-color knitting with the extremely long floats. And, yeah, it was highly unpleasant. I said, you know, never again, would I do it. I think you can tell if you go on, Ravelry and look at the projects, that dress is super cute. Like people love that dress with good reason. Like it is adorable, but for something to be so adorable and only have 50 projects and a bunch of them don't have the 3-color color work, and a bunch of them, like mine, also are like marked UGG, you know, people like got so frustrated with the project. Like I think it tells you something about how difficult it is. Also, most of the people who did attempt it were making it for like the smaller sizes, which I was. I cannot imagine, you know, making the 4 or the 6-year-old size, because I'm assuming they'll have like 400 or 500 stitches on them at those point. Anyway, yeah, it was a very frustrating project. So I was very, very glad to give that to my friend and let her mail that off. But then the cursed project was not done with us, because USPS lost it. And so it never actually arrived. Like after all of that horribleness, all of the stress, it didn't make it there. At this point though, I was like, you know, that is like par for the course with that whole project. Like from the yarn dye disaster to the, you know, my floats, to losing it. Like it just, it was cursed. It was cursed. So yeah. I did not enjoy that, but it did look very cute on the outside, but sadly we will never get to see it on the recipient, I don't think. I also made a pair of Wishmaker mitts that turned out super cute. I'll put a picture of them up here. That's a pattern by Erica Huesser, and I made these for my mom for Christmas to like wear in the car. So that's where I really like to wear my fingerless mitts, is like get them on while I'm driving so I don't have to touch the cold steering wheel in the mornings. So that turned out really cute. And then I made a little cowl, which I'll put a picture of up here, called Like Candy. I used one of Knit Picks' new Felici colors, called Lisa, after Lisa Frank, in those fun rainbow colors. I made this for my niece. She came over when I had not put away my Knit Picks big sale boxes yet, and she saw that Lisa yarn and was like, oh, what are you gonna make with this? And I was like, well, probably socks. And she's like, oh, she was disappointed. So I thought she needed something with that, so I made her that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I am sure this is super long, so yeah, but I've had a lot to catch you up on. I hope you enjoyed seeing my makes. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. I'm happy to answer questions about yarn, or if you want me to go back and figure out what size I made on some of these that I took terrible notes on, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know. Thanks. Bye.